Black men have been asking, how are you going to make my life better? Because my life was better under Trump. So Kamala, after 4 years of doing nothing, just came out with a plan for black men. Legalize weed and $20,000 welfare checks. That's right. Kamala wants to win the black vote with free money and drugs. But protecting black jobs is offensive.
Okay, so I asked ChatGPT if it could make that any more racist, and it said, dude, I'm trying. We're just not that advanced yet. It's pretty explicit. I think Jesse Waters knows what he's doing. I think his audience knows what he's doing. Free drugs and $20,000 welfare checks. To be clear, what he's referring to there is a program of business loans to black entrepreneurs that he refers to as welfare checks. Curious, I wonder, when the US government gives loans out predominantly to white businessmen, is that a welfare check? Could we Google, has Jesse Waters ever called those welfare checks? Back when the PPP loans were going out and we gave a bunch of money to businesses so that they wouldn't fire a bunch of people. Jesse Waters, let's find all the times he referred to those as welfare checks. You know, it's weird. For some reason, it seems like it's only when it's going to black people that he refers to as welfare. Something to look into. But anyway, look, we predicted this at the time. She came out with a plan and it, oh no, was targeted to helping out in an economic fashion black people. There was no way that Fox was not going to lose their mind. And in particular, there was no way that Jesse Waters wasn't going to lose his mind. I mean, this guy is just like a 50-gallon hefty bag filled with racism bounced precariously over a pair of boat shoes. That's all he is, Sharon. But anyway, we'll get to more of the details and more of the video, but what do you make of that?
Oh, well, I'm not an attorney, but I think people also need to understand that, yes, she was targeting black people and systemic racism and loss of opportunity, but I didn't see anywhere in there where it restricted white people. And I think the upside down white flag guy in the Supreme Court and the Winnebago guy in the Supreme Court made sure of it. So, Jesse, I do think that you identified something that if we could invent it, which we wouldn't, I mean, that's, because neither one of us is overtly, demonstrably, consciously racist. If we could invent AI that was just for racists, you asked the question and this normal AI can't. Right, it can't do it. But if there were, racist AI where you just say, look, I want to go there, it perhaps could do better. Your mind's not capable of going there. And I mean that in the best way, John.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, no, it's terrible. It's just like, okay. The only thing that I think could make it more hypocritical is comparing his reaction to what Harris is offering, like help for businesses and things like that. Like making it easier to get apprentices and jobs, like all that stuff. And by the way, legalizing recreational marijuana, which should have been done many, many years ago. By the way, Jesse Waters, I'm sure, has smoked weed only 10,500 times. But that's okay, because the moral significance of voting or of smoking weed is entirely dependent not on the joint, but on the color of the skin of the face that it's going into, as it always has been. But anyway, here's a little bit more of Jesse Waters, and we'll get to my little other prediction in a sec.
If they're putting crack pipe vending machines in black neighborhoods, that's offensive. And that's what Kamala Harris is doing right here. A forgivable loan is a welfare check. So that's a $20,000 welfare check to a black entrepreneur. My question is, what are the qualifications? How black do you have to be?
I'll get you in.
I'm asking for a friend.
I'll get you in.
Also, what does it mean you're an entrepreneur? Do you have a website? Or do you have a mowing schedule? So a black guy with a lemonade stand who's hunting for houses now gets 45 grand free cash because they're going to give 25 grand to first-time home buyers. That's reparations. She's like DEI Santa Claus. The blacks get cash, the college grads get crash, illegals get the sex change operations, the prisoners get the free sex change. That's a lot of free cash. That's how you ruin a republic. This is what dictators do to prop themselves up. They splash cash around to their loyalists with no regard to the deficit, with no regard to the future.
I mean, look, I've been paying attention to Fox News for, 15 years. That is one of the most racist rants I've ever heard anyone. The blacks get cash. Like, I felt that in my spine. The blacks get cash. What's the crack pipes thing? What are you talking about? You insane, doddering fool. The crack pipe. So $20,000 forgivable. So that's welfare. Again, the PPP loans. How many Republican Congress people got those? Those are forgivable loans. Is that welfare? Has he said that it's welfare? By the way, and what about qualifications? Do you just have to have a website? You're right. I think that Harris is gonna set it up and there's gonna be no qualifications whatsoever, okay? And by the way, there's 1,000 different programs that give out loans to businesses. Has he talked about any of them in this way? Has he ever scrutinized aid to entrepreneurs in the way, anything within a country mile of the way that he's describing a plan that specifically targets black entrepreneurs? No, the assumption is that any black business person taking money from this is stealing. They are lazy con artists who are robbing. They're not trying to start up, like a serious landscaping business. They're not trying to start up some sort of e-commerce thing. No. If you have if you have like a lawnmower, if you have a website, screw you, you're a con artist based purely on his racist assumptions. That's all it is. He should lose his job for that rant. Is that crazy of me to say? If Bill O'Reilly had been that racist, he would have been kicked off the air. If Glenn Beck had been that racist, he would have been kicked off the air. By the way, both of them were. And Jesse Waters now, that's worse than Tucker Carlson, at least inside of one rant. But feel free to disagree, Sharon. What do you think?
I don't disagree. And this is where I say our fellow Americans have lost our way. It used to be racist within a certain range, and we love free speech. And even when someone's doing something dirty or being bigoted, we still want them to have the right to do it because society was going to take control and edit them. Society would take care of these people. America's completely lost its way. And if he wants to know about fraud and the federal government, and he could probably do a better job at explaining what this means for the public at large, he should ask Rick Scott. Start there. He could enlighten him about fraud and federal money. And I think it was like 1.7 billion in fines. Remember that? Private sector, Rick Scott. So I don't know why you're coming after black people. Why don't you just go have a drink with Rick Scott, and he can tell you all about what happens here, whether you got a website or not. I don't know.
I think, first of all, very good. The Rick Scott, that's more fraud than this entire program. They're talking about giving away tens of millions of dollars. Sounds a lot when you say it. As like a government program, that's literally nothing. She's talking about almost nothing, and he's losing his mind over it. By the way,
Tom Brady got a PPP loan. Sorry.
100%. Yeah, no, Tom Brady's a great counterexample.
Blurting things out.
Here is what Jesse Waters thought was a good way to appeal to black voters. What Kamala Harris is doing, offering loans to business startups, stuff like that, that's racist. This is what you should do. He said, the mugshot has breathed new life into the Trump campaign and broadened his appeal to black Americans. Today, my garbage man told me he's buying mugshot t-shirts for everyone for Christmas. So having the mugshot, look, just get it through your head, everyone. Black Americans do not want to start businesses. They want a president who has a mugshot, obviously. They don't want aid to go to college or to be trained for a trade. They want a guy who sells gold sneakers. I don't understand what you don't get about that. This is just racism. This is literally all it is. This is worse than Tucker Carlson. It's worse than Bill O'Reilly. And I know that his mom has called into a show before. I think it's time to get on the phone again. Because she has got to be so deeply ashamed of having raised a piece of trash like this. Anyway.
Maybe they're not speaking. I don't know. Maybe
that would probably be, for her sake, I hope they're not.
I do too. She seemed like a decent lady that, I'm going to love my child unconditionally. You will too, but I'm going to check her. Don't you? Am I at least going to say, don't be that racist, or can you tone down the racism and go with a 2000 kind of brand of racism? Because this is it's too much. Yeah.
Yeah, just talk about how like you don't give them $20,000 loans. They already have TVs and microwaves. Do it like Bill O'Reilly used to. They don't need help. They have color TVs.
Gold teeth.
Members make a difference here at TYT. You help make the show happen, and we see you in the chat with your loyalty badge. Click the join button to become a member today.